Hi, in this video, I'm going to show you how to configure Amazon EC2 instance backup with AWS Backup service. As you see in this PPT depicts my demo. Here, I'm going to walk you through how you can configure an Amazon EC2 instance to enable it to take the backup with AWS Backup service. So, as you know, AWS Backup service is native capability from AWS, which helps you to take the backup of multiple services, not only Amazon EC2 instance, but it does also provides the backup capability of the other services as well. Here we are focusing more on the Amazon EC2 instance. All right. So as you see here, what we're going to do is in my account, I'm going to show you how you can create and set up Amazon EC2 instance so that it is ready to be used for taking the backup with using AWS backup service. And we're going to store the taken backup in a AWS backup vault, right? All right, so that's the reason this design diagram represents what is the thing that I'm going to show you in this video. All right, so like the flow would be, we first create an Amazon EC2 instance, then we set up the Amazon backup vault, and then we're going to see how we can create a backup plan. Within the backup plan, how we can point an Amazon EC2 instance or a set of Amazon EC2 instance so that it can start taking the backup automatically according to the plan. All right. Okay. So with that note, let's directly jump to the from the scratch to end of the video. That is like how we can set up the backup. Yeah. All right. So here I'm going to take you to my AWS account. So this is my AWS account. Currently, I'm in North Virginia region, and currently in the EC2 pane, that is EC2 instance pane, right, or EC2 instance service page. So here, what I did is for the demo, I will be showing you how you can create an Amazon Linux 2 machines, which you can create and enable it to take the backup, right? So this is just a demo purpose, but in real case, the EC2 instance could be varying, right? All right, so what I did is I have filtered out the image belongs to the Amazon Linux one. I'm choosing x86-64 image. I'm going to go ahead and click on a button like launch EC2 instance. So once it is launched EC2 instance, you're going to provide the required data to spin up a EC2 instance. Say here like EC2 backup. Yeah, I'm just giving some random name. And then down the line, so you're going to choose the other properties of your EC2 instance, right? So this is the image which we have chosen earlier, and that is being represented here. And then we're going to choose the EC2 instance, that is instance type. So I'm going to choose the free tier one because this is a demo. And if you have not created the key pair, you can click on and create a key pair by giving the name saying like test key pair for Linux. Yeah. And click on create key pair, which will create a key for you, which can be used to log in your EC2 instance, and that would be automatically repointed to a key pair options here. And then in the networking setting, click on the edit networking settings. So here you gonna have a VPC. So the prerequisite, as you know, the prerequisite to spin up a EC2 instance is you should have a proper VPC infrastructure. That is, a VPC should be there, a subnet should be created, and then you should have a proper routables. Plus, if it is a private, if it is a public VPC, then you should have a IGW, and in the routable you have a proper routable bin configured. So these are like we are assuming that you have already done on your VPC, right? And also on the security group, you have allowed the required traffic, that is port number 443 is allowed on your security group. So here I'm going to choose my VPC by considering those points, and then we're going to click on the subnet, that is subnet 1. So I'm going to assign the public IP address because I said this is a public EC2 instance, right? And then in the security group, I'm going to choose the security group, that is my default security group. So since this is a demo and here the aim is only to configure the backup, so that's the reason I'm just using this default one. And then you're going to click on a launch EC2 instance, which will eventually take you to the a created EC2 instance, something like this, right? So since the launching of EC2 instance will take some time, I don't want to stay up to that time. So that's the reason I have already say I just followed the same approach, and my EC2 instance is up and running fine. So after a couple of minutes, you should see the status of the instance, or the state of instance should be running, and the status check should be all 2 checks has to be passed. and then select this one, and you need to do one more thing is go to the actions, go to the security, and in the modify role, so make sure that you attached a IAM role. So that IAM role should be an instance profile role, right? So in my case, this is my instance profile role, so I have already updated to this EC2 instance, right? So basically, you did couple of things. You spinned up a EC2 instance, you attached a IAM role, which is an instance profile role. So I'm just gonna step back and show you how does the instance profile looks like for in my case. You see, I have an IAM role which I have elevated it to act as a EC2 instance profile role. I have given like couple of required permissions along with some administration privilege because this is a demo. And in the trust relationship, I have added like it can be trusted by EC2 instance, because when you say EC2 instance profile role, it has to have a trust relation to the ec2.amazon.com service principal server. Yeah. All right. So similarly, I have added backup as well. So yeah, just to understand or to make you understand that yes, you need an IAM role with the required permissions, plus it should be trusted by a couple of services, say EC2 instance plus backup. All right. So once that is been done, that is how this IAM role will be look like. Yeah. And along with that, in the security, right? So in the security group, you make sure that you have opened the required ports as well. So in my case, I'm being bit lenient here, so I have allowed all the traffics, but in your case, you could allow only the required ports, that is say 443, right? All right. So with that, we have done with the setting up our EC2 infrastructure. Now let's say this EC2 instance is very, very important for you. It is hosting very business critical application for say, right? And you are not sure when does this reason go down, or maybe the physical problem happens in the AWS. There are chances that the data losses. Okay, there are chances that data could be lost, or there are chances that you could delete these EC2 instance accidentally, even though you can protect it by certain configurations. But think that there are chances that you could lose the data present in this EC2 instance. In such cases, we are doing an insurance on this EC2 instance. And what is that insurance? What is that insurance? Is nothing but you are enabling the backup. What is the value of backup is once there is some accidental data loss happens on your EC2 instance which is running fine, with using that backup you can again recover back to your original EC2 instance, right? And that is where the backup is coming and helping you to take the backup periodically. And whenever there is a need to recover your EC2 instance, these backups will come very handy, right? And that's the reason we're gonna enforce, or we're gonna make it mandatory to take the backup, right? And for that case, AWS has already given a service called AWS Backup. So currently I'm in AWS Backup service page, and currently in a US East 1 region or North Virginia region currently. So this is my AWS account again. Don't get confused. I have opened multiple tabs. Yeah. So currently I'm in North Virginia region of AWS Backup. So I have opened the AWS Backup service, right? So in this one, I'm not going to create a new backup vault. I'm going to use the default one. But for your case, you can also, it is always recommended to create your own backup vault, and that gives you better flexibility, right? So for example, I'm going to create a backup vault, something like give a test vault, and choose the encryption key that you can choose the default one, and just click on a create backup vault, right? So once you click on a create backup vault, automatically the backup vault will be created something like this. All right. So for now, I know I have just for the demo purpose, we're going to see how we can use this backup vault. Or I have already did some step walkthrough, like how we can create a plan and how we can protect a EC2 instance with using the default one. But no problem, I'm going to show you again. So let's say you have the backup vault been ready. Let's go to the backup plan. I have already created a plan, that is what is actually a backup plan, right? So backup plan defines like it actually defines how do you want to take a backup of your AWS resource which supports AWS Backup, right? So here when you say plan, in the sense, yeah, plan would contain like schedule of the backup, target of the backup, right, and retention of the backup. Basically these are the three properties that the backup plan would contain, right? And that's the reason the AWS will ask you to create a backup plan for your taking the backup. So here I'm going to build a new plan, say cloud quick lab, which is my channel name, plan, right? So I'm going to say this is my backup plan name, okay? And then I'm going to create a rule name. So this is you need to create a rule name as well. So let me reuse my name of my channel. So let me call it as a hyphen rule. right? And then here the backup vault, so I'm going to use the test vault here. The backup frequency, let it be daily, right? Or say hourly, yeah. And then now what I'm going to do is, so here enable the continuous backup from the point in time recovery, so which I'm not going to use it right now. So currently it is selected the backup window. So as you know, backup window is nothing but it's a point of a time in a day in which a backup has to be taken. So that is what backup window is. I'm not going to use the default backup window, but I'm going to create my own backup window actually. So since you see the time zone that backup window is set up is UTC. So for this case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to see what is the current UTC time. So this is currently like 15:20, that is 3:20 p.m. So I'm gonna configure the window to say 3:30. Yeah, so maybe 3 when you say 3:20. So let's keep it as a 3:25, right? Because we need to complete the so that it can start after 5 minutes. So let me choose the 3:25 as the window, so that I need to finish up the this configuration 3:25. Why? So since I'm creating backup plan, so and the when you successfully created a backup plan and assigned a resource, it uses this window and tries to take the backup from that point of time. Yeah. All right. So it says start. I'm just going to keep the value of start equal to within 1 hour and the complete within 2 hour, right? So what does this, whenever you configure this, this backup plan, try to take the backup within 1 hour. That's what it is. And it also gives you a time limit, in a sense within 2 hours, you need to finish your job of taking the backup, right? So the minimum itself is a 2 hours. All right. And then a transition to the code, so which I'm going to say not required because this is a demo, but in your production system you might need to think about it. The retention is, so I'm going to take it in a retention that is only 1 day because this is a demo. But whereas in your case, the value could change here according to the days, weeks and months. Yeah. All right. So with that, I'm going to keep the copy to destination normal, right? So rest all configuration, I'm going to keep it very default and just click on a create plan. So once this has been created, so you see the plan has been created. So this looks like this page has some bug, it's not going back to the plan. All right. So right now our plan is ready. Now, when you say plan is ready, so that is not enough, right? So we need to assign some resources, right? Plan is nothing but it's just like a blueprint which tells how do your EC2 instance has to be taken the backup, right? And there is within the plan you have a one more property or one more option called assign a resource to take the backup. So I'm going to click on assign a resource. As the name says, assign a resource, in the sense the resources of AWS which supports the backup could be added here directly. All right. So here, we're going to give the assignment name saying like, a demo one, right? So let me give the resource assignment name equal to demo, and the let the IAM role equal to default, right? And then so it says define the resource selections. You see the resource selection options. So generally by default, it is telling you that hey, take up the backup of all resources belongs to your account which supports the backup, which I don't want because here I'm showing you only for one type of resource, that is EC2 instance. So since I select include a specific resource type, so it is giving me another option called select a specific resource type. So I'm going to choose the EC2 instance because we are we want to go for EC2 instance only for this demo. So in this resource type we have selected EC2 instance. We can select all, or you need to choose the EC2 instance which we just now created a while ago, right? This is nothing but the EC2 instance ID ending with 09. So the EC2 instance 09 is here. So and in the exclude the specific resource ID, so I'm going to keep it default, and then click on the assign resources. Okay, so I will just click on assign resource. So what does this mean? In the sense, to this backup plan which we just now created here, right? And to that backup plan we have assigned a resource, that is the EC2 instance. So what does this mean? We defined a blueprint. To that blueprint I assigned my targeted resource, that is EC2 instance, so that it could use that plan and take a backup accordingly, right? All right. So once that is being done, it should start the job actually. So you see there is an option called jobs, right? So if I go to the job zone, currently you see there are already 2 times job has been run, which I tried before recording this demo. Yeah. So since we have created a one more backup plan and we have assigned our EC2 instance again, so we should see one more job at 3:30 p.m. IST, 3:30 p.m. UST, UTC time. Okay, so let me see what is time. So this is 3:25, right? So I have configured 325. Let's see, within 30 minutes, 30 seconds, the backup has to be started here if we have done everything, right? So while it is running, I'm going to go back to the another role, that is default role that backup automatically creates when you are setting the when you are assigning the role, when you are assigning a resource to a plan, that is backup plan, the backup service automatically creates a role, that is IAM role, right? And you see, it is creating a IAM role, and it has given these permissions, that is AWS backup service policy, blah blah. So these two policies are been assigned, and in the trust, you see it is been trusted by a backup service, right? So that is what actually it does. Okay, so let's see, I believe that now it should be started. So let me refresh it again. Is it done? All right, so it's done. We should see a backup being started. So basically, when you keep it such a closure, maybe it will not pick up. We might need to tweak the backup plan again. So I will go to the backup plan. So I'll just click on this one, and just let me modify the the plan again, so that because looks like it has already lost the, sorry, I think we have kept at 3 3 a.m. AST, which is wrong timing, because the current UTC time is a PM. It is in a 3:25 p.m. So I need to modify that plan. Okay, so why this mistake has happened by mistake, but it is a learning, okay, so that you understand properly, right? So alright, so the current time is 3:26. So I would just add it to say 3:28. So I'm going to make it to 3:28. So I'm going to go to the 3:28, and let's make it as a PM, because currently it is a UTC time PM, and I'm going to save it right away, right? So once it is save it, right, so you can see that the backup rule. So if I click on the backup rule, you see the frequency, right? So the frequency, you see at 28 minutes past hours, that is something around this one, right? So that is at 3 p.m., 3:28 p.m. UTC, the backup job has to be started. So let's go to the backup job, and we should see the backup would be started within 2 minutes from now, right? So I'm just going to refresh it now. I think currently it is at still 5:26. We need to wait for a couple of 1 minute. So basically, while we have a 1 minute, I'm going to tell you how does it works. So according to our backup plan, the and according to backup plan definitions, saying the backup has to be should be started every day at a particular point of time. Then at that particular point of time, it has backup from the backend. Backup service will create a cron job or a scheduled job, which will get automatically created, and it will appear here, and that job will run against your EC2 instance, copies the required data from our EC2 instance, and stores in a backup vault. So the backup vault which you have created here, so the backup vault is nothing but it's a huge container which actually stores the data of your EC2 instance. So in our case, it is a EC2 instance, but in the other cases, it could be RDS, it could be any other services which supports it. Okay, all right, so I'm going to go back to the jobs again and see if that job has triggered now. So okay, so let's wait for 1 more minute. I'm going to see if it has triggered. So it has triggered 28. All right, so it should be triggered now, or or it could be or it would have been like I have we have made some mistake in the configuration, so that could be the reason. So currently we see that it is getting lapse. I'm just going to go back to the plan again. So let me click on this one, and I just select the rule. So this is the rule, right? So I'm going to click on edit the rule, and you see the backup window, it should be 3 p.m., right? So it should be started. I'm not sure. So basically, let me go back to the backup again and go to the jobs. Maybe it would have started now by now. So it should be started now. All right, so basically it needs some space. Okay, so if I make it only 2 times, basically from the backend, it may not trigger it at that time. So let's make it at I don't know, maybe 3.3. Okay, so let's make it at 3.3 and see if it works. So basically backup frequency is hourly. Let me make it 3.3. Sorry, 3:33. Yeah, so maybe I need to make it 3:33 p.m. Yeah, all right, so we have taken backup every day never. So basically so even though it does not works, you see that where I have already have some couple of examples. So basically at that point of time, there is nothing but at the the whatever the backup rule we have configured, in the backup rule we have defined that at this time this job has to be triggered and take the backup, right? So at that time the backup would be running and it will actually create the backup job, something like this, right? And then eventually you see the protected resources will be listed here like this. So if you see here, the protected resources will be listed here. And if I go to the backup plan again, so let me check if we have rightly pointed an EC2 instance. So this is the an EC2 instance and this is our ID. Okay, all right, so it should be triggered now. Basically let's wait for 1 or 2 minutes. If it is not triggering right now, then I just mark it as a concluded basically. So currently it needs 2 more minutes and we need to wait up to that time actually. So I'm going to refresh it now. So all right, okay, so let me go back to the backup. And maybe I'm going to, so not, if that is not working, I have already created another route. So let me modify it. So currently this is 30. So let me make it as a 32. So 32. Okay, so let me make it as a 3:32. So let me make it as 3:32 p.m. and it should be working. So let me save it right away. All right. So did we make it correctly? So this is 3:32 p.m. UST. Okay. All right. So if the created plan is not working, at least this has to be worked within 2 minutes. Okay. Meantime, we're going to also modify this rule and check what we can do. So looks to be there is some minor mistakes. So this is start window is 3:33 p.m. starts within this one blah blah. All right. So this one is hourly backup. Backup frequency is hourly. All right, so I'm going to keep it as it is, and let's see if the job is triggered in the other side. And that concludes our actually our part of the demo. All right, so okay, so let's wait if we have completed this time. So at 3:32 we should see a job being triggered here, and that would mark the completion of our demo. Okay, so let's see what is the difference between this and this, that it is not triggering. Okay, so I'm going to go to this one, click on the plan, and it is been daily. Okay, that is the problem here. If I go to the another plan, so we have marked it as a hourly, which is a wrong. So I just need to make it as a daily. So backup is daily, frequency is daily, and then save it. We should see 2 backup jobs should be triggered now. All right. So if I click on this one and you see it is daily at 3:33 p.m. right. So if I go back to this one, we should see at least one job being triggered here right now. Okay. All right. So let's wait for 1 hour minute. So this is 3:32. Started. All right, so this is jobs. I'm going to go to the job. So basically even though if it is not triggering, there could be some minor problems, but yes, exactly at 3:33 p.m. we expect that a job has to be triggered and that job has to take the backup. Okay, so let's wait for 1 minute and that then we can conclude for this particular demo. So I'm going to go back to the plan and see if it has been rightly configured. So this is 3:33 p.m. And if I go to the another one, that is this plan, that is backup plan, 3:32. So I think it is already, because I have enabled it before that time is already lapsed. That's the reason it is not triggering. And also the other plan that I know why it is not triggering is because the configuration time that I have added, the plan definition I have added is just now. And since there is a gap, the gap between the plan edit and the actual execution is minimum, right? So that's the reason it is actually lapsing. But generally, when you have configured like this, you should see the backup job being triggered at right time. All right. Okay. All right. So with that note, I'm going to conclude this this demo for now. And eventually, you should see the backup job, something like this, and you should see your EC2 instance, that is resource name, and your EC2 instance ID should be shown here, something like that, which means that your EC2 instance is protected. Nothing but it is insured, in the sense the backup is being taken, and whenever there is a disaster happens, whenever there is a failure happens, you can reuse that backup and bring your EC2 instance back during the bad time. All right. So with that note, thanks a lot, and I'm going to conclude this call right now. Thank you very much, and see you in the next call.